This is terrifying as the Dallas Stars dominate the Winnipeg Jets to force a date with the Edmonton Oilers in the Western Conference Finals. As we get a matchup from last year, we have a lot to break down going into the series, the implications, players that are going to be X Factors, and so much more. You're not going to want to miss any of this. But before we get into that, if you're a part of the 89% watching this that's not subscribed yet, make sure to go down and hit that subscribe button. It's completely free. It helps us out a ton. And in return, we'll give you updates from not only this series, but the rest of the National Hockey League heading into this crazy offseason. But with that, Darius, we got to hop straight into the first topic today, where we did see the Dallas Stars winning last night versus the Winnipeg Jets in 6 games. They forced to go into round 3 versus the Edmonton Oilers. Now, before we get into the Edmonton side of this, just overall, this Dallas team has been dominant, going up to pick Mikko Rantanen up at this year's trade deadline. This looks like one of the strongest teams, and if not the strongest team in the playoffs right now. What is your thoughts on just how Dallas feels going into round 3 versus the Edmonton Oilers?
Probably pretty good. They're one of the hottest teams in the league right now. They're running 11-7 as well. So that's something to consider going up against the Edmonton Oilers. But this is a rematch of last year, but you added Mikko Rantanen, and I think they're ready to rock. I think they want revenge on the Edmonton Oilers. The Edmonton Oilers, we'll get into them in a second, but I think that they're very driven. They want to win their Stanley Cup after what happened last season as well. But again, the Dallas Stars, I mean, they have great players and they've been rolling, but last night it was Sam Steele and Thomas Harley, and I can't speak highly enough about Thomas Harley, getting to watch him in junior as well. He's one of the best two-way defensemen I think I've ever seen. He's so deceptive too. Like, there's other guys in the league that are maybe quicker than him, have a better shot, all this stuff, but he does everything so well. Like everything, he just brings it together. So he's such a dynamic player for this Dallas Stars team, and obviously playing on the power play as well. And he got that goal in overtime to start it. So, absolutely phenomenal performance in that entire series against the Jets. Yes, they let them win a game in game 5, but they closed it out in 6. They didn't let it go to 7. They got the job done, and now they're moving on to play the Edmonton Oilers. But there's a couple players on this team that are playing some really good hockey, and all 4 lines are rolling. They were dictating play at times. I thought they could have won that game in regulation by quite a few goals at some points. And obviously, Oettinger made that crazy save on Mason Appleton as well. Like, unbelievable. Some would argue he shot it into him, but you got to get across the goal to even give yourself a chance to make that save as well. So great save, and obviously he's going to be a big factor moving into the next round as well. So Dallas Stars are rolling right now. They're motivated to beat the team that eliminated them last year, and then they have one of the best players in the league right now. I say one of, like, the best player right now in Mikko Rantanen.
And I mean, the biggest thing, the X Factor's going in. Hurley's going to be a huge part of this, dominating with Heiskanen out of this lineup, but Hurley coming in 11 points in 13 games. The game winner last night was incredible. Mikko Rantanen being absolutely dominant. There was a stretch where, 18 points of the Dallas Stars' last 18 he assisted or scored. This guy has been a gamer, an X Factor. He's playing a video game out there at this point. But the Dallas team is very deep, and we can see that they might stick with the 11-7. We've seen the 7 work. They keep Bouchard in as a more shutdown guy, a big body, throw hits, wear guys down. And with the forward groups, you can double shift guys like Rantanen easy, Seguin easy, Wyatt, Johnston. These guys can for sure go out for that extra shift to fill in the void on the third line. But looking at this, Darius, do you think other than Thomas Harley and Jake Oettinger, is there a forward that we could see really make a difference in the series? I know Mikko Rantanen is the very obvious answer, but is there anyone else that you could think could step up during this run?
I mean, yeah, it's the obvious answer, Mikko Rantanen, out of the guys you didn't mention at least. But to me, it could be a guy like Jason Robertson, right? Like, he didn't play at all to start the playoffs, so obviously coming back in, it's hard to do that. Like, obviously you got to acclimatize, and he's doing his thing and all that, but we know him to be a goal scorer. So maybe, he's the guy that's going to step up in this next round, because obviously he has a couple games under his belt now returning for this round. So again, he didn't start the playoffs, started kind of slow, but I think that he could be a guy, you kind of watch out for. Then now once he gets in his rhythm, maybe he can be the X factor. But to me, it's going to be Thomas Harley. I think this is like the best player on this team right now. And I know that's crazy to say because of what Mikko Rantanen is doing. But what he's doing on the defensive side and obviously contributing offensively, like you mentioned, 11 points in 13 games, he is unbelievable. So I will never speak poorly about Thomas Harley. He's an unbelievable player. The way that he's skating, shooting the puck, he seems to not put the puck in any bad areas. He's so poised with the puck for a young player in this league. So he's not even 24 years old. So he's going to be a huge X factor going into the next round. But I'm looking at a guy, again, like Jason Robertson. Maybe he can come out, have a great performance. Ottinger's got to do his thing. And then obviously, Rantanen continuing to score at the way he's doing. I don't think it's going to happen in the third round, the scoring the way he has been. I think it's going to slow down a bit, but can he, kind of break through what Edmonton's doing right now and put up a couple points? That would be, effective enough for me.
And I mean, another player to keep an eye on is Wyatt Johnston. We've seen him come in. He's been dominant in the playoffs for such a young player as well. But we do need to look at the other side of the ice, is where the Edmonton Oilers were awaiting the Dallas Stars to make it to the third round to face off as a rematch. This is the team where a lot of people are looking at this and saying, hey, are they deep enough? Do they have a team good enough to compete with the Dallas Stars? But I mean, Darius, what is your thoughts? I know there's a couple weak ends on this team. The defensive core might not be as strong as you want or would expect for a team making the third round. But overall, what is your thoughts on the Oilers taking on such a hot Dallas team?
Yeah, I mean, a couple videos ago on the channel, we did an Edmonton Oilers, kind of roundup of their series against the Vegas Golden Knights. And I was called out in the comments. I see all y'all in the comments calling me out, saying that they aren't as deep as last year. And what I said was they aren't as deep on paper, because I honestly, truly believe that they aren't as deep on paper, and obviously missing Ekholm as well. Like, that's a huge thing. So on paper, they aren't, but I was giving credit to them because they're playing so well while not being as deep on paper, but they're getting scoring from everywhere. And obviously getting Trent Frederick was a great pickup. You have Corey Perry on your fourth line. The defense has been stepping up. They have been playing great in absence of Ekholm, who is, I think, their best defenseman or all-around defenseman on the team. So obviously, you have a guy like John Klingberg who's come in and fit in with the team as well. So they're playing a lot deeper. I have to give them credit. And that's what I was saying in the last video, that it's just on paper, it doesn't look as good as a team, but man, they're doing some really good stuff. And Connor and Leon are scoring less, but they're driving. They are the reason for this. They are the driving force of this team. They raise their game. Everybody has to come up to match them. That's how you win, that leadership. And we saw it last year from Connor McDavid as well, and Leon Draisaitl, but they raise their games to a new level. The other teams have to cover them, and they expect everybody else to raise their levels to that level. Doesn't matter who you are. If you just came from the AHL, if you just came out of junior, it doesn't matter on paper with this team. And I think that's the beauty of this team, because it doesn't really matter, right? You got to raise your level to the level that those guys are playing at. So they've been the driving force, and I absolutely love it. That's how you win hockey games. They are literally willing this team to win. So I do think it's still, while scoring less, Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl that are leading the way for them.
And I mean, the big question mark with this team going into this third round against a Dallas team that can score a lot is Stuart Skinner and the defense. I mean, having your top defenseman is Evan Bouchard as your top defenseman. It is questionable on the defensive end, but what is your thoughts on Calvin Pickard being out and Stuart Skinner going into a round 3 where we've already seen him kind of struggle before?
Yeah, I mean, Stuart Skinner, back-to-back shutouts. I mean, putting on a great performance. Didn't start well coming into the playoffs. There was a lot of question marks. Calvin Pickard came into the net, former Leaf, Marley's goaltender, and everyone's like, this is the guy who's going to help you win a Stanley Cup. But he came in relief and played fantastic. And now Stuart Skinner, when, Calvin Pickard was out with an injury, he comes in and he's like, hey, you know what? I'll be that guy again for you. And he posts back-to-back shutouts. And obviously his stats still aren't looking great, but that doesn't matter when you're winning hockey games. And, I thought he played well enough. A lot of people were saying he's not a good goalie, like even last year in the playoffs. I thought he played well enough to bring them to the Stanley Cup final. Obviously, you need a couple big saves along the way. It's not, by accident that you go to the Stanley Cup final. So if he's able to do at least that again this year, I think they'll be fine. But, posting those shutouts against Vegas, I mean, great work. He's on a shutout streak at this point heading into Dallas, so that's going to be fun to watch. But if he can do what he did last year, at least that, I think they'll be fine. And it seems like he's brought his game to another level recently, which is good if you're an Oilers fan.
And I mean, listen, this is going to be must-watch hockey. Round 3 on this, my prediction is a easy 4-1 win, and we're going to see Dallas win in 5 against the Edmonton Oilers. What is your prediction on this series? Do you think it's going to be less games than 4? Because that is quite possible. But what is your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I think it's going to be Oilers in 7 personally. I think that the Oilers just have that it factor. You can't even you don't know what it is. You can't touch it, whatever it is, right? But they have that it factor. Those two guys are willing this team to win with the mentality. The mental aspect of this team is unbelievable. So even going back to last year, Connor McDavid, he is just so driven and he wants to win. So I think that he's going to will this team to victory again. It's not going to be easy because I think Dallas is probably a better team, right, on paper. But again, like I said earlier in the video, on paper doesn't matter for the Edmonton Oilers, and it hasn't, going back to last year either. So I think that they will get it done. It's not going to be an easy series. I feel like there's going to be some injuries. It's going to be a hard fought series. The goaltending is going to play a huge factor into this one because we all know that one of them is better than the other. I'll leave it at that. And yeah, I'm going to take the Oilers in 7, though. It's going to be tight.
And I mean, the big thing, who do you guys think? Dallas fans, Oilers fans, do you think Dallas comes out victorious? Do you think the power play merchants come out and win this series to go back to the Stanley Cup playoffs, or finals, I should say? Let us know down in the comments. While you're down there, leave a like, subscribe, share this with your friends. We'll be back in another episode, so keep your eye out for that. But I've been your host, Mark, with my co-host, Darius, and take care.